welcome back to another installment of Pin and Balls with the Master of Ceremonies. Tonight I'm joined once again by the Master of Ceremonies. Say hi to the fine people.
Hey, Master of Ceremonies here, MC Mori, McMori, and I'm very happy to be here. How are you tonight, Jasper?
Oh, just hammering out technical difficulties and suppressing things I want to say about certain franchises right now. Anyways, what's on the docket for tonight? We have another film tale, a fish tale, a swamp tale.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we totally have another film. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the film on the docket tonight, and then I want you to tell me a little bit about the pinball table you'll be playing tonight, and we'll take off from there. How does that sound?
Works for me.
Cool. Now, so before we continue, I want to do this thing at the start of every segment where I correct myself and anything I might have got wrong on the last segment, because I've seen these movies a million times, but sometimes you get excited and you get a little into it. So I can't really think of anything. The Swamp Thing 2, actually, the Return of Swamp Thing, but I call it Swamp Thing 2. I can't really think of anything that I need to correct there. But I also wanted to add, at the start of each new episode, I wanted to add a source for if you were interested in the last topic where you could learn more. To be honest with you, after doing some research, I'm not quite sure where you can learn more about, Swamp Thing 2. Christian name, the Return of Swamp Thing. So, I would encourage you to watch the film, and if you wanted to learn more about the director, Jim Wynorski, you could check out a documentary that was made about him a few years ago called Poptopolis.
Poptopolis?
Poptopolis is the Jim Wynorski documentary, yeah.
Poptopolis, king of Doppelpopolis, queen of the doppelgangers.
It sounds like something a rapping rhino would say. Or maybe exactly. So tonight we're going to be talking about a classic of Italian horror cinema. There are Italian horror cinema. There's Italian horror films I like. There's parts of Italian horror cinema that I think are great, but I'm not the biggest fan of Italian horror. And so, I know that might be weird to say because, one of the first films we've talked about was Pieces, which is also, I'm sorry, that was Juan Piquer Simone. But that was foreign horror as well. But I'm not the biggest fan typically of Italian horror in general. But this film tonight is just, it's a special film. I've never seen anything quite like it. The first time I saw it, I said, I have to buy this film. I have to own it because I just have to rewatch this over and over. This film, sadly, is falsely credited to Dario Argento, but Dario Argento did not direct this film. He actually produced it. This film was directed by Lamberto Bava, son of the legendary Mario Bava. And the film I'm talking about is the legendary Demoni, known internationally as Demons. Demoni was released in 1985. It's a horror film about essentially people turning into demons. But what it really is, in my opinion, is a really fun, creative, and balls to the walls film. We can call them demons all we want, but as we'll get into it, they share a lot of similarities to zombies. It's a very unique film. Once it gets going, it doesn't stop. It just has this sensibility of screw it, let's just slaughter all these people, and that's what the film is. And it's really, Demoni is really special, and I hope I'm able tonight to really express how special this film is and how much I personally love this film, because even as someone who isn't the biggest fan of Italian horror in general, this film, Demoni, just so good. Just so interesting and good. We'll get into all the reasons why. But first, okay, I want you to tell me a little bit. What pinball table are you playing it?
The one that's just deciding to be the most uppity, fucking frustrating thing in the world. Oh, this tree, it's so disappointed in me. I have been hitting the button that launches the ball for so long. I'm sorry, MC. I had this special thing planned. Yeah. You're talking about zombie demons, which I love. I actually went and educated myself on this film this time because I'm very excited when we talk about European horror film because, like I said before, I always love the weird sort of like desire to be a commercial success by American Western standards, but also being the absurd sort of art house film that I've come to love and expect from European cinema. But unfortunately, it appears that the only thing I can do is hump the table here. I've reassigned the keys. Oh, it's lighting up. There's children. This is not at all what I was expecting with the Sorcerer's Lair. I was expecting something a lot more demonic, I guess you would say.
If you hit escape, you should be able to see a control layout.
I've reassigned the controls. Let's go back to the fisherman. I trust him. I know him. I remember him. Maybe he'll,
Yes, yeah. Well, we're still trying to help him get his kids back.
yeah, exactly. Maybe we should, this is a sign from the universe. We shouldn't just abandon him like this. We started here at the swamps. We're going to help him with the swamps. All right, so let's talk about these Italian demons because I'm personally very fascinated to find out what this is because I actually, like I said, I went out and read about these. Let's start at the beginning. Let's
Okay. So at the beginning, we have these two ladies. They're friends, and they receive free tickets to a new horror movie at a theater. Okay. And now it's important to note the whole beginning of this film takes, if I remember correctly, anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes. And then the Chekhov's gun has already been fired by that point, and then it doesn't let up. I mean, it's just balls to the wall till the end. So we've got these two women, Kathy and Cheryl. They received these free tickets to this new like horror movie, right? And they show up to the horror movie, and as they show up, we like later that night, they show up to the horror movie, and as they show up, we see some of the other main characters. We're introduced to a very stylish African American man. That, if I remember correctly, I think he's with two ladies. So he's out, doing his thing. He's of all the side people, he's probably the most memorable. There's also a blind guy that's a little bit older, and I guess I'm pretty sure it's his wife. And this guy that his wife, I don't know if she cheats on him regularly, the blind guy regularly with this other guy, or if this just happened at the theater.
we can assume it happens regularly.
Yeah, sure, but it's a small group of people. So we see just a little bit of these people walking in. There's also an African American lady. I think she's one of the ladies that's with the African American gentleman. So the movie starts, and they're watching it. Whatever. She either didn't go in or she gets up right after the movie starts. The African American woman. I can't remember exactly why. And the thing is, there's this mask. Okay. In the lobby, there's this like really elaborate like mask thing, right? And so I think it was a mask. And so she's really interested in it, and it's like displayed there. She was interested in it before, and once there's no one around, she goes to touch it, and it cuts her, right?
Okay.
And then from there, she ends up turning into like just this full-on demon. And it's not quite a zombie because they are mindless, but they're mindless because they're just really excited and enthusiastic to hurt and kill you. They're not mindless in like a dumb sense.
Oh,
They're
see,
mindless in
like a rage zombie, essentially, not a shambling zombie. See,
these
that's
are more your 28 days later zombies, but they're demons. So they don't just like turn into zombies by becoming decayed.
yeah,
They turn into demons. I mean,
yeah.
we're talking like teeth and the fangs and the It's quite amazing. So she turns
No,
into a demon.
hold on. I gotta ask one quick question though, because they turn into demons because they touch the mask.
Well, she did.
Okay, she
Okay.
turns into a demon because she touched the mask. What was demonic about the mask?
It's never said. It's just this,
Huh.
like, I think it's gold, if I remember correctly. It's just this like really elaborate like metal mask.
Oh, okay, so at least I was thinking like because it's such a. I was thinking it would literally be like the same mask from Jim Carrey's The Mask, and I was going to think this is a very different type of film.
It all see that's like a wooden carved thing, like folk thing. This is more. It looks like almost something that a samurai would wear over their face, like as part of like an
Oh,
entire like suit of armor.
and she just finds it in the lobby and decides to put it on.
Well, it's displayed there, like in a like it's
Was she
displayed.
trying to steal it?
She just wants to touch it. She doesn't put it on. She's not trying to take it. She just wants to
Okay.
like pick it up and inspect it. She just thinks it's cool.
Okay.
It is just sitting there, but it does turn her into a demon. So at the same time that she gets her whole demon thing going, the blind lady's wife, I think they never actually say, but I'm pretty sure they're married. I don't think they ever actually say though. But the blind lady's companion, she sneaks off to sleep with this guy, or like off like to the side, whatever. They're off like it's almost like they're backstage doing it, but it's not like a playhouse. It's like a movie theater. So they're somewhere kind of off to the side or whatever. But the demon, okay, she ends up like choking them both with rope, right? And like killing them because
Okay.
she has these like crazy fangs and like these crazy like nails and shit. And the first kill's done with rope, but whatever.
Yeah, I was about to say the acid spit, claws, wings, fangs, and she just
To be
chokes
fair,
them with a rope.
they probably get the calmest death in the entire film.
I mean,
So
no, again, this is what I'm getting at with this whole like art house thing. There's probably some kind of dense symbolism or meaning behind it. I can't think what it could possibly be right now, and I'm not sure they did either.
yeah, I can't either. So okay, so we're about to once we get to the point where all hell breaks loose, it's going to be hard to talk about it linear. I remember the ending, and I remember a lot of in the middle, but we're just going to have to kind of generally talk about the bloodbath. Okay, but okay, so we now have like three demons, right? We have the original demon and the two people that like she killed. One of them like sneaks off and leaves, and they start going. The other two start going to work on everybody else in the movie theater. And I mean, they're just ripping people the fuck apart with their claws and with
And,
their fangs. And
and their
it's
ropes. Do,
and they're
do,
yeah. Well, that
do,
was the first. No,
do,
it
do,
takes off.
do
It
they do
becomes
they
a
pick
ballroom.
chairs up and just crush people with them instead of using their
Oh, for sure.
scorpion talons
They,
or stingers?
they kill people any way they can, and much like zombies, all or Romero zombies at least, all it takes is one little scratch. That's it. Like it's the same like infected rules as a Romero zombie. Like
Oh,
the smallest scratch, and you can become infected. Um,
okay. So it's like Devilman Crybaby.
I'm not sure.
It's forget it. We can keep going.
That's okay. So the African American gentleman in the nice suit with the ladies, well, just one lady
You
now.
can just say Black MC. We just have to capitalize the B now.
Well, no, it's I know I can. It's just that I don't know. Looking at this guy, he is an African American gentleman. You know what
Oh,
I
okay.
mean? Like the way to describe him.
I thought it was made in
Um,
Italy.
oh, it is.
Oh, okay.
It is. See, there's these actors that travel from other countries to Italy, or there were at this time, just to do like films like this.
I don't blame them. I would in a heartbeat. Are you kidding?
If you didn't sound Italian, like this African American guy, who I only keep bringing that up because he played the angry black guy trope in more than one Italian film. Just because he, like, I mean, in all of Italy, they need like an African American dude who doesn't sound Italian. That's a pretty small pool.
The one angry black man in Italy. It's like a Shakespearean play.
Right, exactly. But they use a lot of actors like that because they're trying. When they initially released it, at least a lot of these films, they're trying to trick you, and they want you to think they're American films. That's why it was released as demons here, not demonic, right? So, okay, so the bloodbath starts, and I mean everything's going to shit. Like it's not going well. There's a band of survivors, including the lady who was with her friend at the start. They got the tickets. Her and this guy kind of end up being like a final guy, final girl duo. They kind of pair up, and they're looking out for each other. Blah blah blah. So they're kind of the main characters, but really it's an ensemble. It's just the ever shrinking group of humans against the ever growing group of demons. So um, the African American gentleman, okay, a very stylish guy. He's got like this nice suit and everything. He like immediately, like everybody's freaking out, trying to find a way out. They're locked in there. They can't get out. Okay, and he immediately is like, you know what? We got to fight back. Like fuck these guys, and he starts going to town. He unfortunately he kicks the bucket pretty early, of course.
Of course.
But the demonic transformations in this film, like holy shit! I mean, some of them they're just brutal as hell. They're kind of a mix between. They're really more. If you're to compare them to anything, they're like the Deadites from Evil Dead, mixed with like more zombie-esque rules, I guess. Although the Deadites kind of have zombie rules too.
Yeah, it's a lot like Devilman Crybaby. I just really don't want to invite that demon into your life, buddy.
Well, now that you've said it twice, I'll have to look into it. But,
Yeah.
so, one of my favorite things about this film, one of my favorite things about Italian horror, Eli Roth actually has a really good monologue in an episode of the Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. Eli Roth has a really good monologue about because Joe Bob Briggs asks Eli Roth, do you think that Italian horror is better than American horror? Because he knows that Eli Roth is a huge Italian horror fan. And he says that Roth says that you can't compare the two because they're different sensibilities. Like, our directors over here were coming from like more of the Roger Corman school of thought and sensibility, whereas their directors over there were coming more from the spaghetti westerns like school of thought and sensibility.
That
and when you think about it like that, you think about it like that, you really see it. And a lot of these older Italian horror films, like 80s, and like especially 80s horror films, Italian, you really see the spaghetti western influences.
I mean, that could be true. I also think he was just trying to say the same thing I say about European film, but nicely.
Right. Well, that's funny because it all starts off with Joe Bob looking at the camera and saying, "Look, people, I'll be honest with you. You people who think the Italian horror movies are, the best thing ever. Look, they can be good, like horror movies from anywhere. They can be great. They can be a lot of fun and really campy. But come on, ours are better on average, like in general. They just are. And honestly, he's right.
Oh yeah, I will happily go see a murder, weird horror film, dollar, midnight madness, whatever routine. I will talk about things like Dead Girl or whatever, but I'm not going to deny that the money is following success with that genre.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, you really do. I mean, a lot of these Italian horror films from the 80s, right down to some of them even have Demoni might have this. I'm trying to think, and I can't explicitly remember. But even down to like the lead guy narrows his eyes, zoom in on his eyes, zoom in on the bad dude, narrowing his eyes. Like right down to just outright scenes from spaghetti western films, which makes sense because Italian film culture. There's way more, in terms of their film culture, there's way more, I guess you'd say there's much more of a lacks standard when it comes to borrowing from other directors and films. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and I think we found the perfect ending to this trilogy that never was. We need to have a singular fight between two demons. Both of whom don't think that the town is big enough for the both of them. Uh-oh.
We should. We
It's
should.
it's
I,
time to shoot innocent goers. People who were just on jet skis. Get out of my lake. I'm trying to fish. I don't want to do this.
you're trying to get his kids back. Like they need
Exactly.
to get everything. The judge said you got to catch this many fish or you won't get your kids back.
Yes. 12 boats sunk. That's almost enough for one of them.
12 more, and that's another step closer.
Oh man. Okay.
But
So
yeah,
so so seriously, I'm sorry. I have to go back to the mask again. So this
yeah,
bitch just finds a mask in a theater and decides to put it on. It's some sort of display. It's not just like laying on the floor and she picks it up and goes, "Oh, okay, I'll put this on." No, it's some kind
yeah.
of display, and she decides, "Oh, okay, I'll put this on."
But she wants to. I think she just touches it. If I remember, she's just kind of taken with it. She
Oh,
just kind of wants.
okay. Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
makes far more sense.
it
That's
like
okay.
touches things. But again, that's all it. All it takes is a minor scratch, and
Yeah.
you become a demon.
And this is the first time this has ever happened. Like they've had this demonic like what about the guys who installed it? Did they just wear gloves?
Well, see, okay. So the whole thing, there's a big bad that I've left out. Who gives them the ticket at the beginning of the film, right? Because everybody came to this free horror film. So we see, the two first characters get the ticket, but we can assume that everybody there got a free ticket too. And who gave out the free ticket? A guy dressed in black that was wearing, if I remember correctly, it was that mask. Okay. Oh, that's it. It's not gold. It's silver. I believe. But if I remember correctly, he's wearing that mask. If it's not that mask, it's a mask very similar. So it has to be that mask. What the hell else would it?
Yeah,
Um,
and no one bats an eyelash when the gnarled, hunched figure wearing nothing but black robes sells them their ticket.
oh no, he's just kind of like a young, lean, thin dude. He kind of comes off as like a goth punk rocker type, which is maybe why he can walk with the mask on, and people just go, "Okay, it's 1980." He just is.
Okay.
But he's got kind of like a whole goth slash new wave hybrid Italian vibe style going. Might be the most specific thing I've ever said, but yeah. So of course they lose like the tough guy who played all the tough African American dudes, or a lot of the tough African American dudes, in several films around Italy at the time. And he also makes a reappearance in Demoni 2, which we will get into in a later episode. But anyway, he dies in Demoni 1, and that's a huge blow because he was like, arguably, of everyone in the survival, he wasn't the only one trying, okay? Like, it's not like everybody was losing their shit and then he's fighting them. Like, he wasn't the only one trying. It was just like, he was like a huge source of moral inspiration. He was very much like, come on, we got this. Let's kick their fucking asses, like. And so him going down, that's a bit of a blow. There's a few hope spots where they think they're going to get out, and then it ends up being like a brick wall or some shit like that. And so, there's the whole like despair event horizon that the dwindling members of the group reach. So
This it reminds me a lot of Wreck, and I know Wreck came afterwards. I'm guessing Wreck just basically was another one of the mini films influenced by this. The idea
maybe
of people.
so. It's a weird film, man, because it's over the top gore. A lot of it makeup effects. It's not super high budget, but I mean, they didn't just shit it together. Like, effort was put into it, and a lot of it looks really good. Most of it, honestly, a lot of the gore like really impresses me. For some reason, they leak like green slime out of their mouths. I guess turning into a demon like makes sure blood and slime and everything that you leak. It's like a turquoise green color. It's crazy, but it looks cool. Uh,
I guess that's the demon virus or whatever in their biles.
I guess,
I
but
assume if you
it
touch
does look
that, you
good.
turn into like a super demon.
Right. And Demoni too. Now it's important to note there's like, as I said, there's like 5 or 6 films, maybe even more. Actually, even more, I think, in the Demoni franchise. But only the first two are like canon. Like in my, I mean, the first two are set in the same universe, the same people, and then three onward, it goes off the damn rails and it becomes something else entirely. And it's not even like the American horror franchise where it becomes ruined and that's how it becomes something else entirely. But it's still like the same like characters and shit. No, those last few Demoni films, it's got nothing to do with Demoni one and two. You know, it's just that Demoni became somewhat. Infamous and somewhat popular as one of the really gory Italian horror films. And so, several other films that they really could benefit from putting Demoni in the title. And again, over, Italian film culture, way laxer in terms of standards, way lax standards compared to us in terms of how much they can, like, I say borrow, really it's steal from each other.
Interesting. I I'm sorry. I'm still taken by this mask in the movie theater that it makes everyone turn into a demon.
Well, it makes the first person turn into a demon, and then technically she and then the other subsequent demons turn everybody else into demons.
Okay, and it's like a spaghetti western where their eyes narrow and the camera zooms in and a tumbleweed rolls past the
It's
dumb.
not. I can't remember if that exact scene is in there, but those similar scenes, short of the tumbleweed, often are in films like that. Those type of like showdown scenes are in a lot of films, a lot of Italian horror films from that specific period. And again, Demoni is 1985. Um, it it's got humor in it. Like there's parts of it that are trying to be funny and supposed to be funny, and there's parts of it that are funny that aren't supposed to be, and then there's parts of it that are honestly just outright horrific in terms of gore and just sheer violence and carnage. And so it creates this really surreal feeling because it's not a great film, but it's not horrible, and it's not really funny, but some of the comedy lands here and there, and it's not super scary, but a lot of it makes you go, "Damn, that looks brutal." Like it's this weird mix of effective and ineffective, and it's just I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's like classic. If you could define Italian horror cinema in the '80s, especially like slasher gore flicks, it would be Demoni and Demoni 2. Like it. I mean, those were, in my opinion, those were at the time the Italian versions of Friday the 13th and that type of shit. And it's just so funny the difference because they go at it with a very like, okay, let's spend like 10 minutes, a minute with each of these characters in this group of survivors, and then let's just get going, and it just fucking starts, and it does not stop. So they were filming, if I remember correctly, they were filming in a movie theater because the whole thing takes place in a movie theater, right? They filmed Demoni in a movie theater it was either going to be destroyed or it was like condemned and nobody gave a shit about it. One or the other. It was
Oh
either going to be
wow.
destroyed or would be destroyed. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. See, I love it because that was back when you could get away with shit like that, and we made some great art, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, from that.
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, and that's not just an Italian thing. Like so many films, especially horror films, especially in the '70s and '80s, were filmed in spots that were literally restored. I mean, for the film. You know what I mean? Like yeah. Okay. There's. I guess what I'm trying to say there is, yeah. Sometimes like a film can literally save a dwelling. Does that make sense? Just because someone wanted to film there, and so they fix it up.
Yeah, like the Amityville Horror House. It's now like a bed and breakfast or something.
I believe I'm not as versed in Amityville horror. Not as versed. Interesting films, especially the first few. But I'm not as versed in the. It's been a while since I've seen them.
Nah, it's fine. It was a toss-off. We can keep going.
Mhm. So okay, so we're gonna. I have a few things to say about the ending. So I feel like it's appropriate. We can kind of start getting into the ending, and then we can kind of discuss it overall to close out, right?
Sure, yeah.
So
I have to know.
okay,
I assume
so
everyone but like one person dies. It's
well,
just a question
pretty
of
much
which one.
everybody. Pretty much it comes down to the head guy and the head woman. Okay, she was one of the. She's, I guess, technically the lead character. She was the first. Her and her friend are the first two characters we see, and they're the ones that are given the tickets. And then that guy she kind of meets there, right? And they chat before the show and blah blah blah. So it ends up being him and her. And okay, so again, they either were going they either already were going to destroy this building or nobody gave a shit, one or the other. So what does Baba do? Baba goes, "Hey, you know what would be cool for literally no damn reason?" Now it ends up making a little bit of sense once they get outside, but still, okay. You know it'd be cool for almost literally no damn reason. Let's have a military helicopter fall through the ceiling and destroy the movie.
Wait, they
Right?
they 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 have they Deus Ex Machina, a literal flying machine through the roof. And I guess this
No,
is
no,
when.
no, no. They don't. They don't fly. They don't fly out. It's not so they can have a way to get
Well,
out.
it
But the,
lands on top of the demon right as it's about to kill them. I assume.
nope. This is
No.
just what destroys the movie theater and helps them get out of the movie theater they were trapped in.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it probably did kill, I'm sure, a few demons, but it didn't fix the problem. Okay,
Okay.
this
I thought it was like that climactic moment where like our empowered, our strong
this
female independent black woman demon monster is like lurching towards them,
right.
and then a helicopter just falls out of the air and ends everything. They cast the magical everything's fixed spell.
No, this was Baba literally going. Well, no one gives a shit about this building. I guess we've gotten all the shots in here, so you know what'd be cool? Let's drop that old junked out helicopter we found through the roof. That's literally what it was. Like,
It was a different
yeah,
generation. They remember what it was like to go without. That helicopter could be
yeah,
like 9 bathtubs, a straight
yeah, yeah,
razor, machete,
right.
a
Yeah, who
chair.
knows?
There's at least 2 chairs in that.
So don't ask me how, okay? Because I don't remember exactly how. But it all culminates with the guy and the lady on a motorcycle with a katana driving
Yes.
around, driving in circles around the movie theater, just chopping up demons, just trying to kill all of them because they can't get out of the damn theater. So all they can really do is move and fight around the theater,
I'm
right?
trying so hard to
So
not bring up Devilman Crybaby again, but it's getting so difficult not to. I'm sorry, keep going.
it's okay. So they end up like wiping out. The helicopter falls through the ceiling. I can't remember the sequence, but both those things happen around the same time, I think. And they end up finding a way out. That's when they see, holy shit, that demon that slipped away at the start has apparently caused this problem everywhere. Because the military's out and like it's just problem. There's demons everywhere. It's not just the theater, right? Like they're fucking everywhere. So they end up the lead guy and the lead lady end up getting on this like on the back of this like jeep, this like tricked out jeep with like several other human survivors that are basically like, come with us if you want to live, pretty much. So they get in the jeep, they start riding away. There's literally only a few minutes of the film left, so you know the credits have to start rolling at any time. And you think that's it. They made it out, they got in the Jeep, and they're getting away. And that's when she, who arguably was the lead character, turns into a fucking demon. Because apparently at some point she was scratched or something.
Of
But
course,
she
and
turned
yeah.
into a fucking demon. So it doesn't end with her turning into a demon and then like freeze frame of everyone in the vehicle screaming. Doesn't end with that. It doesn't end with her turning into a demon and that's it. Cut to credits and we don't know what happened. She turns into a demon. One of the people that we just met, we don't even know these characters' names. One of the people in the front seat turns around and shoots her ass with a shotgun out of the fucking Jeep. He stares dumbfounded that this chick that he's, or this lady that he's kind of been, getting it on with, like kind of hitting it off with, she just turned into a demon and got blasted away. And they continue to drive down the road. And that's the end of the fucking
What? Finally, something that
incredible,
can challenge the Hulk.
right?
The
Right.
TV show, right? The one where he just walks off and tries to hitchhike.
I think that was one of the movies, but maybe that was the TV show. I could be wrong. I've never seen
Uh,
any of
I,
them
I just,
at all.
I just never thought there was anything that could make that seem like it gives us closure.
Right, right. But it's an incredible film, dude. And then we'll mostly talk about this in the next segment where we discuss Demoni too. But they all return for the sequel.
Oh yes. Oh, well, of course. How do you turn down starring in the sequel to such a blockbuster as Demoni?
For sure, for sure. So there's a bit more to say about it, but that's pretty much the whole film. They go to this free ass horror movie. One of them gets possessed. Demons start attacking, and they all pretty much die. I mean, that one dude made it out. But, I mean, we don't know how they fared after the credits stopped though, because as far as we can tell, this has taken over the entire town, maybe even all of Italy by this point. When you think about it,
Yeah.
the rate they were infected, it was fast. It goes fast in the film. So that one that got away, and the amount of time we've been focused in the movie theater, God knows what carnage they've caused and the ones they've created have caused on the outside. It's actually quite smart when you think about it. But it just God, it's fun. Demoni is just a classic. Oh, and I forgot about the gangsters. There's a group of gangsters that kind of get brought into it somehow. They're like in the middle
Oh,
of all these people getting ripped apart in a movie theater. We cut to these, and I use the term loosely, quote unquote gangsters. Okay, they're more like punks, really. Okay,
I'm just
but
relieved they
they're
showed up because this was getting far too easy to follow.
right, right. So I don't know if this. I guess this is supposed to be a joke, but they're driving around with a can of Coke, a can of Coca Cola, and they have a straw in the can, and they're passing the can around and taking snorts off the straw because, as we learn, they have cocaine in a Coke can,
Oh
which I guess
god.
is a joke. You know what I mean? I don't.
Oh no, it's again. This is what I'm talking about with European film. That is an art house cinema joke if ever there was one, and I will give it the light chortle that it deserves.
Now, I'm not a cocaine person. I've never been a cocaine person. But I've never, even like in passing, like at a party, like just overhearing what other people say, I've never heard anyone say, like, hey, let's take some cocaine and put it in a Coke can and sniff it out of that with a straw. I don't understand why the hell anybody would
Oh
do
yeah, no
that.
one would ever do it unless they were being told to make a symbol clear for like the director or the guy who wrote the thing that they're being forced to perform in.
No one would, like, that's easier, right?
Yeah.
like,
Like Coke is
like,
expensive. Why would you put it in a Coke can? There's still going to be residues of like caramel and shit.
and as
Like
we, and
no
as,
one would do that.
and as we see in that scene, okay, what happens is they're driving around and they're doing coke, and then one of them spills like a good bit on like all over the lady in the car, and so the guy driving is all pissed off, and they pull over and they're scraping all of it up, and there's a little bit on her tits, and he takes a razor blade and kind of scrapes it off seductively, and she's kind of into it. And it's this weird moment, and then I don't remember quite how, but they end up running from the police. Okay, the police are trying to apprehend them,
I've got a few
and they
theories.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But they're a little bit ahead of the police, and they round a corner, and it's a dead end. And they're like, "Shit, what do we do?" And they don't know what to do. So they try the door next to them, and it's open. And they go in, and it's the fucking theater, and all of that just to get them in there to kill them too, pretty much.
Well, at least we got to
That's
see
all.
them fuck first, and he shaved her titties. That was nice.
We didn't see them. We didn't see them fuck. We did see them shave her titties a bit. Um,
I mean,
Which
hey.
I mean, every now and then I got to shave mine personally every now and then, so I understand. But just, I mean, bonkers ass. I think we've pretty much covered all the high points, but it's definitely worth seeing because it's one of those films that I'm honestly glad that this conversation went as well as it did. Because I was a little worried because I was like, with as much as this film focuses on graphic violence as basically its core, the hell am I going to say? You know. But of course, I love it. I've learned a lot about it. So of course there were still things to say about it. But
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, no matter everything I've said here and told you is true from what I remember. I'll correct it next episode if I'm wrong about anything. But no matter what I could say, I could sit here and describe the entire. I could sit here and read the entire script to you, and you just have to see it. Like,
I get the impression that a lot of it would just be a few spare, bits of dialogue in Italian, followed by scene descriptions of like, the demon took its horn and eviscerated the guy. The
right,
the
right.
the, the demon spits acid out of its nipples and melts the child's face off. The
Grizzly
demon
does too. Mhm.
unfurls its conch and sprays a noxious gas that just, I don't know, melts everyone through the wall. Maybe
Well,
this demon virus is, spread through the air. If
you
only
know,
they'd
I
had masks, right?
right. Well, I didn't have
uh,
masks that were. See, if it was a cloth mask, then it'd have been harder to cut her, right?
oh yeah, but no, this is a mask that this mask does not stop the spread.
Yep, it causes it. So I just made a decision while we've been sitting here talking. So this episode we talked about Demoni. Next episode we're going to talk about Demoni 2. And because I don't feel Demoni ever had a proper Demoni 3 installment in its franchise, we're going to talk about a different film for the third episode, okay, after for the one after Demoni 2. We're going to talk about a different film, but we're going to stick with the demon theme. We're going to do Night of the Demons.
Oh, okay.
And
George
we're gonna get three demons in a row here.
George Romero's Demoni.
No, not quite.
I I'm sorry. I keep finding myself coming up with more questions about this. So there's never a single character. This, like, the closest thing we have to a protagonist is the woman who becomes patient zero for the demons,
Pretty
essentially,
much.
right?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
She's
I mean, the entire for the first half of the film, after we first meet her, the entire group of humans are pretty much the protagonists. I mean, it's them versus the demons. But yeah, I mean, she's pretty much she gets most of the solo time, and yeah,
hmm. It's an interesting choice, I guess.
yeah.
See, I get the feeling from these that Demoni is kind of like Alien. Demoni 2 definitely gives me an Aliens 2 vibe, and I am very much here for it. Uh, I've never heard of Dawn of the Demons. Oh man. Of course, I'd never
So
heard of
nine.
Demoni until tonight.
Right, right. So, Night of the Demons is an American horror film released in '88, so just a couple years after Demoni 1 and 2. And it's. We'll get into it. We'll get it. I think you'll enjoy it. There's some really fucked up things in it, but I think you'll enjoy it. It's a similar type of like Deadites take on zombie esque, hell demons. Because I
Okay.
mean, when it comes to modern cinema, I know there's more than this, but when it comes to modern cinema, it seems like there's two different types of demons. It seems like there's the kind of like brainless, excited goblin almost demon, right? And there's like the overlord, stoic, sharp angles, master of hell, or at least like general of hell demon,
Oh yeah.
right?
So it's essentially demons versus devils. You got the little imps and
Yeah.
goblins, the chaotic little underlings that don't really know, they can't really plan or calculate. And then you have devils who are basically lawyers.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. And this takes those chaotic little underlings Demoni does, and just like, oh my, it just has so much fun with it. The carnage. It's phenomenal. It really is. I think everybody should see Demoni at least once.
Yeah, I actually, when you mentioned it to me, I took the liberty of looking at some reviews, and most of them were across the board lackluster, didn't get into it, too much violence, no story, makes no sense. And then one guy says, it seems like this was only here to showcase the makeup and graphic effects of the artist, but I can't imagine why it didn't get a sequel.
Right, right, and
It's like,
it
really?
did.
Oh, no, he meant Demoni too. He was like, why wasn't there a trilogy? And I'm like, I got a few theories. The same reason that
Yeah,
Aladdin 2 was straight to VHS and Aladdin 3 did not happen. Or maybe it was a TV show.
right, right. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But no, Demoni is a classic of Italian cinema, especially a classic of Italian horror cinema. I think everybody should watch Demoni 1 and Demoni 2. They're both. I mean, they're both worth it. Honestly, some phenomenal makeup effects, some really interesting and creative kills. It's it takes a certain type of person to have someone transform into a demon and then grab a rope and strangle two people brutally to death with it without using any of their new demon powers, really, because you can do that as a human, technically,
Oh
you know.
god! See, I'm just
And
telling you that has to have been a choice that he made for some sort of symbolic reason. It's just there's probably some buried subtextual message in like another set of paintings she sees in the aisle before she gets to the mask that turns her into a demon that no one else ever thought about touching before.
right. Okay, okay. So I almost forgot about one of the side characters. There's other side characters that I'm leaving out, but a lot of them die pretty quickly. So when thinking back on it, it's easier to remember the people that made it at least halfway
I
through.
mean, I
You
feel
know,
like, leaving out side characters is kind of easy in a cast that's nothing but side characters.
everybody kind of is the side character and the main character, exactly. But the we forgot about the blind guy. Okay, the blind dude. All right, he who showed up with his presumably wife, who she was cheating
Oh,
on him
yeah, the blind cuck. Maybe he's our
with.
hero.
Not quite, more of like another helpless victim, like most of the characters. Um, he okay, so she dies, right? Like his guide lady dies, right? And so because like his wife, and so he's just kind of stuck. I mean, he's blind, and everybody's freaking out, and nobody knows him. So he's kind of fending for himself, right? So
Okay.
he can hear that something's wrong. He can feel that something's wrong. His blood and gore like sprays all over him, but he has no idea what's going on. All he hears is screaming. Like he just knows it's bad. So he sinks to the ground and starts crawling. Which honestly, probably the best move you got if you're him in that particular situation. So he sinks to the ground and starts crawling. He makes it a little ways, but then the head demon, is really if the head lady that first gets the ticket is the lead character, then the head demon really is the lead bad guy, even though technically the big bad is the dude in the mask. If all of that makes sense. But she basically finds the blind man on the floor, and I think kind of I don't know if she realizes he's blind or if she just realizes like she like goes to attack him and he doesn't move because he doesn't know she's there, and she notices that, and so she ends up he lost his like dark glasses somewhere in the shuffle. She ends up like taking her fingers or her long ass fingernails and just gouging his eyes out. He can't see it coming, right? It's just incredible. Like so just squicky and gross. Ugh.
Go.
Is great. Is great. Yeah, Demoni is a classic. And as we'll talk about in the next episode, Demoni 2 is also a damned classic. Like,
Yeah, I mean, to bring up the Evil Dead comparison you made earlier, just having her slowly gouge out some dude's eyes is far more disturbing than fuck my pussy, fuck my pussy.
Right, right. While she just like kind of absent-mindedly and evilly smiles and laughs, and yeah, exactly.
See, so we never get any motivations from the demons. They don't have any other plans except just general bedlam, chaos, misery, conquer the planet, the usual. They don't want to, like, start a business.
No, they just seem to want to destroy things. Oh, that's something I left out. This is a particularly bad, quote unquote, zombie virus, so to speak, because like someone gets infected, they turn into a demon, you kill them. Well, a little bit later, they just revive as an even more fully transformed demon. Like, so yeah, I guess very similar to the Deadites in a lot of ways.
I'm sorry, I'm beset by balls.
Yeah, it happens.
Every time they throw 7 of them at me, they act like it's a present or something to be excited about, and all I do is panic. Hey, I can
Right,
manage 2 of these. Yeah, that's right. I guess that's how
right.
that fisherman ended up with so many kids. You start juggling 1, then it's 2, and then before you know it, it's like 9. Oh man, we are
Yeah.
not going to catch enough fish to make child support this time.
Ah, man, we have not been catching nearly enough fish for this guy.
Shooting a lot of jet skis, not catching a lot of fish.
Yeah, yeah. If only they paid more for killing people on the lake.
You'd think maybe he should just start doing that instead.
Maybe so. Maybe so. But anyway, I think that's every off the top of my head. That's every notable thing I can think of regarding Demoni. But there still is. I mean, a good bit we could talk about in terms of it. Just rolling around with a damn samurai sword on a motorcycle, doing donuts in a movie theater. You show me one other film. And then a damn helicopter falls through the ceiling. You show me one other film.
It can't be done.
It can be done. It's Demoni is uniquely demonic, and it's one of the things that makes it a staple, classic of Italian horror cinema for sure.
Well, all right.
For sure.
There
And
you have
no one ever, you know.
it. Well, all right. I guess that concludes tonight's fish tale. We haven't quite gotten those fish to pay off that child support, but we're just in the first step of a 3-part demonic tour, so
Yep,
anything could
yep,
happen.
yep, yep. I'm excited about it. Well, if we're signing off, then I'd just like to say I am Master of Ceremonies, MC Mori McMori, and remember, uh, it's when it comes to zombie viruses, it's very contagious, and it's just best not to be in that environment. Um, you know, just try
Indeed.
just try not to be alone with any zombies. It's just something to keep in mind if you can.
All right. I'll try to keep that in mind. Well, thank you, MC Mori McMori. And this is Jasper Worms, standing down and standing by.